Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 12th Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now we'll move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Mike Kincaid.
Present.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Morris Jones.
Here.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
John Copeland.
Here.
Brent Wheat.
Here.
Sierra Messenger.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any changes to those minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second from Keith. All those here say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, on to old business. First item up here is Ordinance 2021-13. Council to consider street and alley vacation for the 451 Flats project, and this ordinance is on second reading. And Ben is going to reintroduce this.
We'll just do a quick recap for you from last meeting. Let me find my map and put it on the overhead here. Here's a quick overview. We've got one alley and one street that are being vacated to accommodate the project, the Ironman's project that you see here. This is Lebanon Street on the west side here, William Street to the south. We got an alley and street right-of-way that would be vacated as part of this request to accommodate the project. So it was in front of you for the first reading last month in the public hearing, and it's up for the second reading and potential adoption tonight. So with that, I'd just be happy to answer any questions if you have any. And the applicant is here if you got any other questions that are more project-focused. He'd be happy to answer those as well, too.
Any questions for Ben at this time?
No, sir.
Are there any questions for the applicant? Mr. Blake?
Sure.
Okay. Rob, you mind reading the ordinance on second reading, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Ordinance 2021-13 is again a ordinance to vacate public ways. Whereas there's been filed with the Plan Commission a petition docket number 21-19 to vacate the public street and alley right-of-ways in the Lane subdivision of the city of Lebanon, specifically the west half of Howard Street from Lebanon Street to the north-south alley street located between North Lebanon Street and North Meridian Street, and the west half of the east-west alley between North Lebanon Street and the north alley, south alley, located between the North Lebanon Street and the North Meridian Street, and all that's set forth in Exhibits A and B respectively. The Plan Commission voted 7-01 to send a favorable recommendation to this council. Therefore, pursuant to Indiana Code, this city council has the authority to vacate the public right-of-ways and now finds that the public right-of-ways identified in Exhibits A and B are no longer needed for the benefit of the public. There's been advertising, a public hearing was previously held. This council finds it proper and necessary to vacate the public rights-of-way identified in Exhibits A and B. The conveyance of the real estate shall be to Ironman Properties of Lebanon, and this ordinance shall be full force and effect in accordance with Indiana law.
Any council discussion, comments on the ordinance been read on second reading? Okay.
Well, I was just going to make a comment that based on what they've built in the past, they have built quality apartments, and they do look good in the downtown area, and those residents do frequent Lebanon businesses downtown. So I just think it's a good project.
Thank you, Mike. Any public comment at this time concerning this project? Please state your name for the record. I mean, I know who you are, but, you know.
Hi, my name's John Messenger. I live at 518 North Meridian Street, and I live on the, excuse me, that would be on the northwest corner of this property. All I have to say, I spoke the last time. Thank you for hearing me. I do appreciate all your time. I just don't understand. He's changed 7, 8 ordinances that has nothing to do with the street closure and alley closure, but He purchased these properties knowing darn good and well that there's alleys and streets there, and I just feel he ought to build on the properties he purchased. Have we done any streets, road, what do you call that, counts? Or street counts or anything like that to see how much traffic is going up and down the alleys? Don't you normally do that? And I'm just concerned about a precedence that you're setting to, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. I appreciate all your time. Anyway, I just think you ought to look and worry about the precedence that you're setting for others to shut down streets and alleys. Been a long time resident there. My family's owned it for 60 years along with myself, and I plan on passing this on down to my family. I just don't think it's a good fit. I think you ought to build on the properties that he purchased. He knew good and well there were alleys there. The variances that he just barely passed, I know a few of them did, and just not for the project at all. And that's just my personal view. I know a lot of my neighbors don't like it either. Street counts or road counts, whatever you call them, I think those ought to be done or something to see how much on Friday nights people cut across when there's a lot of traffic on 39 or there's accidents. And now it's going to all come down my alley, basically, and I really don't want that. There again, I have no solution other than have him build on the properties that he's supposed to build on. It's going to be a big impact on the sewer lines. I know there was a study out, and Burke, I think, or whatever, has approved it, but I question that myself. They made the drainage smaller. Anyway, that's my piece. Thank you all for your consideration and time.
Thank you, John. Any additional public comment? Any further discussion from council?
I would say that, it passes the planning commission and the zoning, and they know what they are doing. So when it gets to me, I'm not the expert in that. It's already passed 2 phases. So if they say it can drain, it can drain. If they say they have sewage, they can have the sewage, the capacity. So that's my take on that. I got to trust the people that get them here. So that's what I do.
Further comment from council? Okay. This time then, I would entertain a motion concerning ordinance 2021-13.
Going to recuse myself from voting because this is personal to me, so I just want to make sure that I don't
Okay.
have my personal beliefs affected, so I will not be voting on this.
Your recusal is acknowledged. Yep.
I make a motion, we approve ordinance 2021-13.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye.
I'm going to have to have.
Yeah, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Mike Kincaid,
Yes.
Keith Campbell,
Yes.
Morris Jones,
No.
Dick Robertson,
Yes.
John Copeland,
No.
Brent Wheat,
No.
Gara is abstaining. We've got 3 yeses and 3 nos.
Okay. So in the event of a tie, I do break a tie. I will vote in favor of the ordinance 2021-13. Okay. Okay, so ordinance 2021-13 has been adopted. On to ordinance 2021-14. Council to reconsider a request from 45 acres at Elm Swamp Road and Angeli Way. This is on second reading as well.
All right, just a quick recap for you here. This is a little bit of a unique request in that we're going from a PUD current zoning to a standard SF2 zoning. And let me find my map for you here, just to again recap the location. This is the location of the acreage here. You've got Chadwick to the south and Auburn Meadows to the north. You can can see the acreage kind of sandwiched in between those two properties there. It was rezoned PUD, I think it's about 15 years ago almost. And so it's been PUD zoning since that time, never was developed, and now we've got an applicant that's looking to develop this property as a standard SF2 plat. So that's the request. First step for you here tonight would be rezoning to SF2, and then they have actually filed their primary plat with our office, and they'll be going through the Plan Commission process for the primary plat here in the next couple of months. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Ben at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. Rob, can you read that ordinance 2021-14 on second reading, please?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Ordinance 2021-14, again, is the rezoning property and amending the zoning map of the city of Lebanon. The petitioner, Four Star Group, filed its application for rezone before the City of Lebanon Plan Commission, again seeking to rezone 45-plus acres in Center Township. All that's described in Exhibits A and B. Pursuant to Indiana Code, the Plan Commission conducted its required public hearing on June 21st and voted 8-0 to send a favorable recommendation for rezoning this property to this council. Therefore, this council hereby finds that the petitioners received appropriate affidavit and consent from the owners of the property. The petitioner seeks to have the property generally located at the northeast corner of Elm Swamp Road and Angelee Way, all described in Exhibits A and B, rezoned from Plan Unit Development zoning classification to single-family residential SF2 zoning classification. This council has paid reasonable regard to the comprehensive plans, the current conditions and character of the current structures and the uses in each district, as well as the values throughout the jurisdiction of this city. From and after this date, the official zoning map of the city of Lebanon will be changed from Plan Unit Development, again, to single-family residential SF2 zoning classification, and the director of the city is hereby authorized to change the official zoning map consistent with this ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, Rob. Ordinance has been read on second reading. Are there any questions for the applicant at this time?
Sure.
Okay. Any public comment concerning this project? Okay. This time then, I would entertain a motion concerning ordinance 2021-14.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2021-14.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That ordinance is adopted unanimously. Thank you, council. Okay, next up, that concludes what I have for old business. Is there anything from council?
Sure.
New business then? This is ordinance 2021-12 concerning the American Rescue Plan. Ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Lebanon establishing a local fund for federal assistance received from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. I guess this is kind of my ordinance or Tina's ordinance. I'll just kind of give a brief background for those at home. As part of the American Rescue Plan, which was a multi-trillion-dollar bill from the federal government, part of that was money towards locals. And so as part of that project, we will receive about $3.4 or so million from the federal government directly towards Lebanon. That will be distributed to us, I say, over the next 12 months or so. And so we essentially need a fund to receipt those funds into. The ordinance also lays out the bill the legislature passed, or the Congress passed, does specify certain items that it can be used for. Those are listed here in the ordinance we can talk about. Part of this, too, will allow us to have some ongoing discussions of how do we then choose to appropriate those funds. But essentially tonight, we're creating the fund to put the money into and also adopting the rules on which way those monies can be used. So that's the broad strokes there. So I'll let Rob read the ordinance, and we can have further discussions and thoughts from council.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Ordinance 2021-12, again, establishes a local fund for the federal assistance received from the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 2021 ARP was enacted on March 11th of this year. Among other things, it established a coronavirus local fiscal recovery fund, which provides for the disbursement of emergency federal assistance to local governmental units to mitigate negative fiscal impacts stemming from COVID-19 public health emergency. The Indiana State Board of Accounts issued a directive 2021-1 requiring the establishment of a separate fund for federal assistance received through this ARP fund. The city is a non-entitlement unit of local government and therefore will receive an allocation from the Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund under Section 603 of the Social Security Act. Therefore, be it resolved that there will be established an ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, and that fund will be number 176. All monies received by the city under this act shall serve as a local fund which supports the expenditures in accordance with Section 603, Section C of the Social Security Act and the guidance issued by the federal and state of Indiana agencies. The expenditures from the ARP fund must be made in accordance with a written plan that needs to be adopted by this council and that will define the allocations of the monies that are eligible to be expended. Disbursements from the fund must be appropriated by this council in accordance with the city's claims approval process prior to any expenditures. All disbursements must be made from this fund and shall not be transferred to another fund of the city. Cash balances in the ARP fund may be used only for the following: to respond to the public health emergency with respect to the coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, or its negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small businesses, nonprofits, or to aid impacted industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. Additionally, to respond to workers performing essential work during COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible workers. Further, for provisions of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue of the city due to COVID-19 public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent full fiscal year of the city prior to this emergency, or to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. The clerk treasurer shall keep and complete financial records of this fund for the city, and this fund shall be liquidated and closed on the later of December 31st, 2024, or the date of the final eligible payment from the ARP fund of cash balances encumbered prior to December 31st, 2024, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
Thank you, Rob. Ordinance has been read on first reading. Any discussions, initial thoughts from council? John, what are you thinking hard? No?
Not at this time.
Okay. Any public comment? Okay. Ordinance 2021-12 has been read on first reading, and we'll take that up on second reading at our next meeting. That concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from council? Sure. Okay. Move on to claims. I would entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I make a motion, we pay the claims.
We have a motion to pay the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Sierra? Yep. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Sorry, those are ayes? Right. Ayes, okay. Those opposed? All right, claims are approved. Any announcements or discussions from council? Any additional public comment? Okay. This time then I want to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Our next city council meeting will be July 26th at 7:15 PM. Thanks for watching.